Hey, what's happening, guys? Today we've got a really nice piece of gear from far off lands. This is the KSGER T12 soldering station, and this is a microcontroller run soldering station. And this was sent to us free of charge from our friends at Banggood, so I'd like to thank them for sending this out so we can all get a look at it. But I'm betting you guys have already seen this if you watch 12-volt vids or the Def Palm or a whole bunch of other channels, because it sure seems like Banggood is pushing this out. And that's okay, because I think they've really got a winner on their hands here, except for one thing, which we'll get to. So let's take an overall look at this little guy here. Move the camera around so we can see better. On, focus. Alright, I guess that's focus. So, first of all, it's pretty compact in size. We're talking about 3.5 by 1.5 by about 5.25 inches. It has an OLED screen on the front, a 5-pin connector for the wand, and a rotary encoder. On the back we have a single piece power switch fuse IEC connector. And this is made out of, I'm guessing it's probably anodized aluminum. I'm looking to see if I've got a magnet sitting around here somewhere, and I know I do. Yeah, here's a teeny tiny little neodymium. Nope. Definitely not a ferrous material. So, you get this, but you don't get an IEC cord. Chances are you've probably got one sitting around. Next up is the wand. So here is the soldering wand, and it's marked TS129501 LSD safe. Well, I still don't recommend you solder while high on acid, but I'm sure they probably mean ESD. Now, here is the actual tip, and it's a combination tip and heater, kind of like the TS100 little soldering iron, but they're not the same. I checked. I was excited, because personally, I hate this tip. You do not have very much surface area to transfer the heat to what's being soldered, so what can you say? Alright, so what do you say we open her up and have a look inside first, and then we'll have a play with it. Okay, so if we take a look here, let's see if I can. That's pretty good. Well, first up is our microcontroller, and you can see it's an STM32 and a quad flat pack. There's another connector jack there marked input, and then over here, this is the input from the board, or the output from the board rather. I guess it's input and output. Yeah, this is the output from the power board here, because these wires here from this connector are the output to the wand. We got our buzzer here and just a couple of other ICs. Alright, back to normal. Alright, we're zoomed in, but it's not the super zoom. So, here we have our input, like I said, all one piece fused. And then if you look here, there's another fuse right there on the board. So we're double fused. Then we've got a nice choke, our bridge rectifier, a MOV, and a nice filtering cap there. Here we have MBRF 2200 TG which is a switch mode power supply chip. This one over here is a Texas, or no, I can't really read that one. That's probably our MOSFET for the switching. Now here we have an optocoupler, and look at that very nice cutout in the board. Lots of space there, so we don't have to worry about arcing over. This is an actual Sanyo cap, so that's really nice. And then our inductor here is covered in heat shrink for protection. Very nice. Another Sanyo cap there. And what's this one here? C.C.A.C. So that's the Shenzhen flavor of the week. Got a bunch of diodes here, another cap, some resistors, a couple little capacitors there. Just some passive components. This is nice and clean. The soldering looks really good. Except for it looks like they left a little bit of flux on these hand soldered parts here. But all in all, that's not too bad. Not a bad deal at all. And then, like I said, all the brains are in this part here. And that goes back on just like that. Some nice quality construction here in this guy. When I did that review of the cheapest power station I could find, there was a chip that I originally identified, just as an educated guess. I said it must have been like a bridge rectifier. Well, of course it wasn't. After I read up on it more, it turns out that it was a switch mode power supply chip. And man, did I get called on that. And I apologize. But I'm not going back and watching the video again. But I really don't think I said it was a bridge rectifier. I believe I said it was like a bridge rectifier, because that was one of its functions. So, and then somebody mentioned, oh, an electrical engineer doesn't know a switch mode power supply chip when he finds one. Haven't you ever worked on power circuits? Yeah, I have, 20 years ago. So we didn't have those, and that's why I didn't recognize it. Anyway, what I'm saying is feel free to comment on whatever you like. If I make a mistake, I'll own up to it. Not a problem. Alright, so let's plug this in. Now, what did I do with the wand? Because if we plug it in without the wand, it's going to throw off an error. Now, this is a 5-pin keyed connector. Always good to have keyed connectors, because I don't care how smart you are, how many times you use this, one day you'll plug it in wrong. It's like an old saying among pilots. There are two types of pilots: those who have made a wheels-up landing and those who have not made a wheels-up landing yet. I wish they would have put the power switch the other way around, could have flipped this. I understand they had to make it fit to the board, but to me, on is up. But maybe that's just one of my weird quirks. I don't know. Okay, so I have everything set, and when I turned it on, you'll notice there's a real-time clock, and yes, it is correct. I have not been sleeping much. And you are also going to notice that that screen is incredibly dim. Can we see it any better? No. What about if I bring more light onto it? Does that help? No. What if I bring it closer? Man, it's that dark. Hold on a second. So, we are all set. It's powered up. It only took me a few hours to figure out how to film it. So, to get to the menu, we hold the encoder in until it beeps. And there you have it. So there are 20 menu items. The first one is standby. So to select it, we just click it. And there we have the particulars. If we want to select one of them, we just click it. Shake, switch, manual, auto. We'll put it in auto there. And then we do another long click to get out of this. We have a sleep mode. Then we have the boost mode, and I'll show you how that works. But basically, it's going to bump the temperature up 50 degrees. 1 minute, that's all I want. Cold end, I believe, is the internal thermometer. Oops. Then we have our tip choice. We have a type K tip on there now. Aw, dagnabbit, Paul, you went too far. There we go. So there are different tip choices. You get the idea. Now our stepping. So for each turn of the encoder, how much do we increase the temperature? And it is selectable from 50 degrees to 1 degree. 10 degrees is good for me. Password. We can password protect the thing. I have no need for that. Screensaver, self-explanatory, buzzer, again, on, off. Voltage. It can display the voltage. Not really necessary. Then we have a couple of low power settings. That's because this came from an earlier model which was DC powered. This is, not necessary. Now this one, 13, desolder. Inching or valve? I do not know what that is. And of course there's no manual. Same with pump set. Language, you have English and Chinese. Date and time settings, real-time clock adjust, real-time clock init. There's our system info, hardware and software versions. Uh-oh. We lost our focus. There we go. Initialize the system and exit. So that is our menu system. Now, from the front screen, if we just give this a little quick twist, zoop, it goes into boost mode. And it'll stay there, in our case now, for a minute. Now, other things we can do is one click to set our temperature. And if we turn left, we can put it into standby, set, sleep, all that kind of fun stuff. So the information that we have available here on the screen is our set temperature, our actual temperature, tip type. This says power. I don't know if that's a percentage of power going out or what exactly it refers to. Then we have our real-time clock and our room temperature. Cool. So the next thing we're going to do is see what kind of current it uses while it's heating up. You can see we're at 123.5 volts. There's our amp. And I'm going to turn it on. And it'll heat up rather quickly. Okay. 348 and 350. It's heated up. And we only got to 0.8 amp. So now we're seeing its idle current dropping back down a little under half an amp. And idle watts is 100 milliwatts. Okay, I got a couple pieces of 18 gauge stranded copper wire here. Gonna make sure the iron's good and tinned. And we've got some solder on there for thermal transfer. And let's see what it takes to tin one of these. So I have very little surface contact area there. So it's not going as easy as I'd hope. You gotta be like a sharpshooter. Hit the other one. And I gotta change my light here. I was getting a shadow there and I couldn't see what I was doing. Alrighty. I didn't do too bad. But again, like I said, there's just not much surface area for me to work with there. Let's see if we can solder those together just with a little reflow. Alright, we got them clipped together. A little dibby dab of solder. Thermal transfer. Let's see what we can do here. Actually, I'm going to hit the boost. Because I'm just not getting enough surface area to melt. There we go. That boost was perfect for this operation. Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, it took a little longer than I would have liked, but that don't look too bad. Alright, I've got some 22 gauge wire that I've done a lineman splice on. So they're not tin. Let's see how that works out. This should go relatively quickly. Oh yeah, just a few seconds, no problem at all. So we are done soldering here. So just a quick tip before you put your iron away, and this applies to any iron. Clean it off. And retin it. And then shut your iron off. That little coating of tin on there will help keep the iron tip from oxidizing, and your tips will last a very, very long time. So there you have it. That is the KSGER T12 soldering station from Banggood. Lists for around $50, I believe. I'll put a link to it down below. I think this is a nice little soldering station. Again, I'm not fond of that tip. That's more of a personal preference thing. I'm going to get another one and we'll revisit this in the future. But for now, I got to say I like it. It's very nice, nicely made. It performs nicely. It feels nice. Other than the tip and the screen being a little dim, I don't have anything bad to say about it. So, pretty cool. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. Feel free to comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Big thanks to all my patrons. Big thanks to Banggood. And a big thanks to you. That's it. I'm out. Peace.